Why you must listen. Leo understood every English word he read, every sentence he heard. His comprehension was remarkable, a hidden superpower. Yet, when it came to uttering a single phrase, his tongue felt tied in an invisible knot. The thought of speaking, especially in front of others, filled him with an overwhelming wave of dread and self-consciousness. He longed for fluent conversation, but fear held him captive daily. This silent struggle impacted more than just social gatherings. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, even responding to a simple, "How are you?" became monumental challenges. Opportunities slipped through his fingers like sand, from exciting job prospects to engaging new friendships. He felt like a tourist in his own life, constantly observing but rarely participating, a frustrating paradox indeed. One quiet evening, scrolling through his phone, a captivating YouTube thumbnail popped up. "Why you must listen. Start talking at home." Intrigued, Leo clicked. The enthusiastic presenter spoke directly to his deepest anxieties, addressing the very fears that paralyzed him. It wasn't about perfection. It was about beginning, however faltering the start might be. The video continued. "Let's talk in British English." The speaker emphasized focusing on a particular accent, not to imitate perfectly, but to gain consistency. How people speak English, the presenter explained, varies wildly, so pick one style and build confidence. This specific advice resonated, offering a concrete starting point rather than overwhelming generality. Another segment, "How to Talk to Anyone in English," offered practical tips, active listening, simple greetings, asking open-ended questions. It wasn't about complex grammar or vast vocabulary, but about initiating connection. The message was clear: communication trumps flawless articulation. This shifted his perspective from fear of failure to the desire for engagement. Why you should practice speaking, the video urged, is because fluency comes from doing, not just knowing. It highlighted the neurological benefits of speaking aloud, how it cements language patterns in the brain. Leo felt a spark of hope. Perhaps the solution wasn't external, but lay within his own consistent, albeit initially awkward, efforts. Then came a brilliant, simple strategy. Talk in English just one page per day. Read a page from a book aloud, discuss its contents, or even simply narrate your entire day in English for a page's worth of text. This incredibly manageable goal suddenly felt achievable, a realistic daily commitment that wouldn't overwhelm his already hesitant nature. He decided to start that very night. That evening, standing in front of his bathroom mirror, Leo began. "My name is Leo," he whispered, feeling ridiculous. "Today I ate toast." It felt painfully slow, each word a heavy stone. His reflection offered no judgment, just a quiet, mirrored challenge. He narrated brushing his teeth, tying his shoes, small mundane actions, meticulously in English. His family, initially puzzled by his sudden quiet murmuring, soon grew accustomed to it. His mother would occasionally correct a minor pronunciation. His sister might interject with a simple, "What did you say?" This gentle, non-judgmental environment became his safe testing ground. The pressure was off, only support remained, slowly nurturing his brave efforts. The video had emphasized, learn English is a journey, not a destination. This phrase echoed in Leo's mind as he continued his daily practice. There were days of frustration, mispronunciations, and forgotten words. But he reminded himself that every single spoken word, however imperfect, was a step forward, a true victory. He remembered the advice, how to improve your English, which stressed consistency over intensity. 10 minutes every day was better than 2 hours once a week. He started listening to more English podcasts, trying to repeat phrases he heard. He watched short videos, mimicking the intonation and rhythm of native speakers, absorbing the language. After a few weeks of mirror talk and family chats, Leo felt a new, tentative confidence bloom. He started greeting the shopkeeper in English, exchanging a few simple words about the weather. The shopkeeper, a kindly elderly man, responded with a smile, validating Leo's effort without correcting him. This small success fueled his growing courage. The fear hadn't vanished completely, but it had shrunk considerably. Now, instead of paralyzing him, it merely nudged him, a reminder to stay brave. He found himself more willing to engage, to try. The invisible knot in his tongue was loosening, little by little, replaced by a sense of liberation he had never thought possible. Driven by his newfound momentum, Leo sought out an online English conversation group. His first session was nerve-wracking, his palms sweating as he clicked the join button. But the welcoming faces and patient listeners quickly put him at ease. He realized everyone was there to learn, everyone stumbled, and that was perfectly okay. During a trip to a local tourist spot, he encountered a lost tourist asking for directions. Without hesitation, Leo stepped forward, offering clear, concise instructions in English. The tourist's grateful smile was a far greater reward than any perfect grammar score. This real-life application solidified his progress immensely. He understood now, how to talk in English wasn't a secret formula, but an ongoing process of consistent engagement. It was about overcoming the initial hurdle, embracing imperfection, and celebrating small victories. Every conversation, however brief, added another brick to the foundation of his fluency and self-assurance. The world had opened up. He could understand nuances in movies, appreciate song lyrics, and engage with global content like never before. More importantly, he could finally express his own thoughts, feelings, and opinions to a wider audience. The joy of genuine communication was exhilarating, a profound sense of connection. While he started with British English influences, he found himself naturally adapting to various accents. The video's point about how people speak English truly resonated now. He understood that diversity of speech was a feature, not a bug, making every conversation a unique and enriching experience. His ear became finely tuned. The fear of making mistakes, once a paralyzing force, had transformed into a minor annoyance, easily dismissed. He learned to laugh at his own linguistic blunders, knowing they were just part of the learning curve. This liberation from self-criticism allowed his true personality to shine through in English. His one-page-per-day routine became a cherished ritual, no longer a chore. Sometimes it was describing his breakfast, other times recounting a dream. The consistent, low-stakes practice built neural pathways, making spoken English feel more natural, more instinctive, rather than a laborious translation process. His family watched his transformation with pride. His mother, who had initially just gently corrected him, now encouraged him to speak more with her friends. His sister admired his perseverance. Their support was invaluable, a constant source of quiet encouragement that reinforced his belief in himself. Leo felt like a new person, not just someone who spoke English, but someone who had conquered a significant personal obstacle. His confidence spilled over into other areas of his life, making him more assertive, more adventurous. English wasn't just a language, it was a key that unlocked a different version of himself. He began sharing his story with friends who also struggled with speaking. "You must listen," he'd tell them, echoing the video, "but then you must start talking at home." He emphasized the simple beginnings, the power of consistent small steps, and the importance of a non-judgmental environment for practice. "Let's talk in British English or American or Australian," he'd advise. "Just pick one to start, but then embrace the beautiful diversity of how people speak English." He'd stress that perfection was an illusion and progress was the true goal. Communication, he reiterated, was about connection, not flawless diction. How to talk to anyone in English, he'd explain, is really about being brave enough to try. He'd share his tips: active listening, asking simple questions, and not being afraid of silence while you formulate your thoughts. The path to fluency, he realized, was paved with countless small, courageous conversations. Why you should practice speaking, he passionately declared, is the secret ingredient. It's the muscle building, the repetition that makes it second nature. He described how his brain had literally rewired itself through constant vocalization, making retrieval of words faster and less effortful than ever before. Talk in English just 1 page per day, he'd suggest, as the most powerful habit. It sounds minimal, he'd admit, but its cumulative effect was extraordinary. This consistent, low-pressure exposure trained his brain and tongue, transforming awkward silence into confident conversation, 1 page at a time. "Remember, learn English is an ongoing adventure," he would always conclude. "There's always more to learn, new phrases, new idioms. But the biggest hurdle is usually starting to speak. Once you do that, the rest truly becomes a joyful discovery process, a lifelong journey of exploration." How to improve your English, he would explain, is simply a continuous loop of speaking, listening, learning from mistakes, and speaking again. He encouraged his friends to record themselves, to listen critically but kindly, and to celebrate every small improvement, no matter how tiny it seemed. So, how to talk in English? He would ask rhetorically, then offer his simple answer: just open your mouth and begin. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for the right moment. The right moment is always now. Start small, start consistently, and witness the incredible transformation yourself. Leo vividly recalled the suffocating fear of judgment that once plagued him. Every potential English word felt scrutinized, every sentence a potential source of embarrassment. He imagined people laughing, correcting, or simply dismissing him. This self-imposed mental prison was far more restrictive than any language barrier itself, he now realized. He soon discovered that most people were incredibly patient and encouraging. They appreciated the effort, not just the flawless execution. The world wasn't waiting to critique him, it was often waiting to connect. This profound realization liberated him from his self-consciousness, allowing him to truly engage. A key part of how to talk to anyone in English was active listening. Leo consciously practiced hearing not just words, but intonation, pauses, and context. This improved his comprehension significantly and also gave him more time to formulate his own responses, reducing the pressure to reply instantly. He began with the simplest greetings. Good morning, how are you? Hello. These small exchanges, repeated daily with different people, built a foundation of confidence. Each successful, even if brief, interaction chipped away at his fear, proving that he could indeed use the language effectively. From greetings, he progressed to asking open-ended questions like, "What do you think about?" or "Tell me about." This encouraged longer responses, giving him more listening practice and allowing the conversation to flow more naturally. It shifted the focus from his speaking to shared communication. Mistakes no longer felt like failures, but became valuable learning opportunities. If someone corrected him, he'd thank them and immediately try to incorporate the feedback. This positive attitude towards errors accelerated his learning, transforming stumbling blocks into stepping stones on his linguistic journey. His newfound English skills had a tangible impact on his professional life. He could now confidently participate in international online meetings, contribute to global projects, and even understand industry podcasts. New career avenues, once seemingly blocked, were now wide open for exploration and growth. English became a bridge to countless cultures. He engaged with people from different countries online, discussing global events, art, and music. The world felt smaller, more interconnected, and his own perspective broadened immensely. It was a passport to truly global citizenship. He stopped obsessing over a perfect British accent. The advice from How People Speak English had been liberating. He aimed for clarity and intelligibility, allowing his own unique voice and intonation to emerge naturally. Authenticity, he realized, was far more important than flawless mimicry. The one-page per day habit often involved narrating his daily activities. I am making coffee now. The water is boiling. I will add sugar. This mundane practice proved incredibly powerful for building automaticity, turning internal thoughts into external spoken words with less effort. Speaking forced him to actively recall vocabulary and grammar rules, rather than just passively recognizing them. If he couldn't find a word, he'd rephrase, use gestures, or ask for help, which often led to learning new words in context. His active vocabulary grew exponentially. The most profound change was a mental shift from passive comprehension to active production. His brain was no longer just a receiver, it was a transmitter. This transformation was exhilarating, empowering him to shape conversations, express nuanced ideas, and truly participate in dialogue. He even managed to encourage his younger sister to start talking at home in English. They would sometimes watch English movies together, pausing to discuss scenes or characters in English, making learning a fun, shared family activity, strengthening their bond too. Leo learned the critical importance of patience, especially with himself. There were days when progress felt slow, or he'd revert to old habits. But he'd remind himself of the learn English is a journey mantra and gently redirect, knowing that consistency was more important than speed. As his confidence grew, he found his unique voice in English. It wasn't just a collection of learned phrases, it was genuinely him speaking. His humor, his insights, his personality all began to shine through, making conversations richer and more authentic than ever before. Witnessing his own incredible journey, Leo felt a new mission: to inspire others. He wanted to shout from the rooftops, "Why you must listen, start talking at home." He became a living testament to the idea that everyone, regardless of their starting point, can conquer their speaking fears. That YouTube video, watched on a quiet evening, had been a powerful catalyst. Its simple, actionable advice had transformed his life. He often thought about the presenter's words, realizing the profound impact a clear message and encouragement could have on someone's hidden potential. Learning to speak English wasn't just about the language, it was about resilience, courage, and self-belief. It taught him that the biggest barriers are often internal, and with consistent effort, even the most daunting challenges can be overcome. These were life lessons, not just linguistic ones. The sense of achievement was immense. From being paralyzed by fear, he was now capable of holding meaningful conversations, expressing complex ideas, and connecting with people globally. This personal victory brought a deep, quiet satisfaction that permeated his entire being. Leo knew his English journey wasn't over. There were always new words, new expressions, new accents to explore. But the fear was gone, replaced by curiosity and excitement. He looked forward to every opportunity to talk in English, embracing it as a continuous, joyful adventure. He realized that speaking English wasn't just about personal gain, it was about joining a vast global community. Language was the bridge, and through it, he could share his culture, learn about others, and contribute to conversations on a worldwide scale. This feeling of belonging was incredibly powerful. For years, his inability to speak had created a subtle sense of isolation. Now, that barrier was dissolving. He felt more connected, more present in his interactions. The world, once a distant spectacle, had become an immersive experience, inviting him to participate fully and freely. The greatest joy was the spontaneity. He no longer had to pre-plan sentences or mentally translate. Words flowed more naturally, allowing for genuine, unscripted conversations. This ease and freedom in expression transformed every interaction from a chore into a delightful exchange. Leo became a quiet champion for others struggling to speak. He'd share the same advice he'd found invaluable: why you must listen, start talking at home. His personal story served as powerful proof that anyone could achieve fluency if they simply took the brave step to begin. His journey epitomized the unlocking of potential. He hadn't just learned a language, he had discovered a strength within himself he never knew existed. The act of speaking English had empowered him in ways far beyond vocabulary and grammar, transforming his entire outlook on life.